It's the drawing show. It's the drawing show.
Welcome to the Drawing Show. I think a good place to start before you've ever drawn before is to ask yourself, why do you want to draw? What is your goal with this? This could tell you a lot about what your motivations really are and make you think about a little bit more why you want to do this. Because drawing is not easy, and it's going to take some hard work, and it's going to take some discipline, and you really do need to kind of mentally prepare yourself for that. If this is something you want to stick with and do more of, you're going to have to be able to love the process, actually love just the act of drawing. And what got me into it, what got me loving the act of drawing, was when I was 3 or 4. And the first thing that I did was trace. And so that's what we're going to do today. Tracing has a lot of different benefits, especially when you're first starting out, more than you might think it does. And we're going to talk about those right now. So let's do some tracing. First thing is find an image that you really like, something that excites you and is something that you think, if I could draw, that's what I would want to draw. So find something like that, print it out, and get yourself some tracing paper. I'll put a link in the description for some different tracing paper, but I mean, you can pick it up at any art supply store. And let's get tracing. Okay, so first things first, you're going to have to choose an image. Now, I would suggest choosing something that's fairly simple, but something that you really enjoy, something that you would really want to draw. I chose this weasel from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, mainly because when I was a kid, I had a coloring book and I loved these guys. They're a lot of fun. But he's also got a lot of different fun shapes within him, which actually, not only is he fun visually to look at, but a lot of fun to draw. So if you're not sure what to draw, I would suggest one of these guys. Also, choose something that's got good line work, or just line work in general. That makes it a little bit easier to draw. And I would suggest the image being a little bit on the bigger side. That way you've got nice longer lines to draw. So with tracing, and I'm sure quite a few people have checked out because I'm not going to waste my time with tracing. What are you even talking about, dude? Tracing's great. It's really what got me into drawing as a little kid. And I really don't think there's a wrong way to go about this. I originally was thinking that this isn't for just checking your brain out and just tracing. But I think it could be. When I was a kid and started doing this, I wasn't concerned about really what I was doing, the kind of lines that I was putting down. I was just enjoying drawing, and it was a lot of fun. And I got an image at the end of it that I drew. That was it. I mean, I wasn't studying. It wasn't study time. It wasn't, think about the type of lines you're drawing, or, what kind of shape is that, and is that graphically interesting, and blah, blah, blah. No, I was just drawing these lines because it's fun to draw. And I wanted to be able to draw something good. So I traced it. but I was also a little kid. I mean, I wasn't, wasn't trying to enter this into anything, but I also didn't have any kind of preconceived ideas about just tracing and what that meant. Like I was like stealing something, or it wasn't actually that good because I was just tracing over it. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just drawing. Now, if we get a little bit more intellectual about what we're doing, we can think about the benefits of this. I don't think that that's all you have to do. I think it's totally fine to just switch your brain off and trace. If you want to be using your time a little bit more wisely, and not tracing all the time, you can think a little bit more about what you're doing, the type of lines that you're putting down, the type of weight that you're putting on your pencil throughout your lines, and trying to work on your line quality. Those are really good things to do. But with this exercise, I think the biggest thing is really just developing a love for the act of drawing itself. That's all we're doing here. I do think that there could be a danger in staying in this part of the process for too long, where it's hard to get out of it because you get used to drawing things exactly the way that they are because you're tracing it. And you enjoy drawing, and you enjoy having a really good drawing at the end of it. Because doing this once, doing this a couple times, doing just this for a week straight, you're not going to be able to draw your figure or character or whatever perfectly without the tracing paper. You may be able to do it better than you would have if you hadn't, but that's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is not to be able to draw that figure or anything perfectly right after you've done this. Again, the point of this is to really start to enjoy the process, and that's what we're doing here. And you get a pretty decent drawing at the end of it, hopefully. And then there are the benefits, the added benefits of working on your line quality. Line quality is great. And to be able to control a pencil well before you really start to learn about how to construct a figure is great. And I think that's really the biggest, more intellectual takeaway is line quality and shape. To be able to get those nice S curves and those nice ovals and have everything look well constructed is great to be able to do. But if you really just want to be, switching off your brain and just tracing over an image and having fun doing that, I think that's great. You don't have to be thinking about your line quality or the different shapes. I think it's a good idea to do that eventually if drawing is something that you want to do. But if it's fun enough just to be drawing over these images, I say go for it. I mean, that's what I was doing when I was a kid. I wasn't thinking about all these other things. I was just having a good time and enjoying it. So now we switch over to Mr. Wolverine. This is another big character for me when I was a kid and for a lot of people. Let me know what kind of characters or images you guys have chosen to trace over. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of overlap. Some other characters that I enjoyed as a kid was Dragon Ball Z. I don't think I really ever traced those. I think I was starting to just copy them when I started drawing them, but man, they were a lot of fun. The shapes and their eyes, I always loved their eyes. And their hair was so much fun. And the muscles and the folds in the fabric of their pants and man, those were good characters. Let me know what you guys are doing. This one is a little bit smaller, which is okay to go a little bit smaller. It kind of helps with some pencil control, and if you want to be doing this a little bit faster. But it's good to do some bigger ones too, so you get some nice long lines, and try to keep your pencil on those lines the whole way through and make a nice line. And it's interesting, you'll find usually the harder you try to do this kind of thing and make it perfect, the worse it's going to be. So try to be a little bit free and loose with your drawing, with your pencil and your lines. The harder and tighter you get, the worse your line quality is going to be. And when you go slow and you're trying to get that line perfect right over the line that you're tracing, the quality kind of goes down a little bit when you do that. And what's funny about this is that that's kind of the theme with the drawing anything, whether you're tracing or whether you're trying to copy a reference. If you're doing a portrait, the harder you try, and maybe this is just me, but the harder I try to get a good resemblance. I'm totally blanking on the word for that. What's it called? A good likeness. Goodness gracious. The harder I try to get a good likeness of the reference that I'm drawing, usually the worse it ends up being. But the more free I get with it, usually the better the drawing, no matter what. So whether I'm tracing, which I really don't do this anymore, but this is I think a great thing to start with. or I'm working on a portrait. So try to be free with your lines, not worrying too much about getting it perfect, and just enjoying this, having fun. And let me know what kind of characters you all are drawing in the comments. I'd really like to know. I'm pretty interested in what everybody else is doing. And this is pretty much it. Very simple, but I think it's a great way to start and develop that love for drawing. It's not something that I suggest doing all the time, but it's pretty fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, go ahead, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Now go do some drawing.